Hey, Migo.
Yeah.
Tell us about what a treasure fire is.
A treasure fire is in Ecuador here. If there's gold or silver in the ground, or a treasure, meaning that people used to bury their gold and treasure in the ground along with the people. And what happens is it creates a gas, and so all of a sudden it goes up out of the ground and it catches on fire. I don't even know how it catches on fire, but people, Ecuadorians, I'm sure it's all over the world the same thing, but Ecuadorians around here, they say they've seen treasure fires, and what that means is there's something in the ground and it gives off a gas and then it burns. It doesn't burn the vegetation and stuff around it, but it just, I've never seen one myself. But my friend Bill and I, we go out looking for treasures, and he's got a whole bunch of super cool tools to find them.
Metal detectors and stuff?
Yeah, he's got this one tool. It's from Russia, and it costs $25,000. He got it for like $17,000 because the price went down at one point. And but anyway, what it does is you have to go real slowly, you know, along a line, a string line, and then over about a foot and come back, and it takes a picture of the ground. And so basically it goes down about 20 feet basically, and then if there is metal in the ground, you can it'll show up on his phone, number one.
It's pretty heavy though to carry?
Nah, it's probably like 15 pounds.
Did you have a metal detector with you today when you went prospecting?
Today, yeah. This guy's got like, I use this thing like it's like a Gold Bug 2 or something like that. And it has a frequency, and he said it only goes down about 6 inches, so you got to get it right on the ground. And then he has another one which was like $800, and and he had that one. And then we also have this little tool. It's just a little shaft with this little. It's got a ball bearing right here, and an antenna on it like this. Okay, so it moves really easily. If you got to be real careful because you could make it go like that. And a wire to this little thing on the side of him, which is a battery operated thing. And what it does is it actually will sense, it can pick up the frequency of metals. You can put a gem in there. If you're looking for a gem, you put it in there and it sets off a frequency, and then it looks out there and it'll find it.
How long did you hike in today?
Well, the drive was like, it's seriously a long ways, man. I mean, on gravel. It's so beautiful.
Are you worn out?
I am so shot. Anyway.
Did you guys find any gold?
Not today.
Waste of time?
No.
Okay.
Because I learn every time we go out, because I learn from him all the time and stuff. In a way, it's kind of a waste of time because we didn't get any gold.
Now, why did you come to Ecuador? You actually work here, right? You're not retired. You actually have a business, Real Moto. You repair motorcycles?
Yeah. Real Moto, you know, is this property here. What I wanted to do is to create a place for people to learn how to ride motorcycles, number one, because I'm very good at it. I did it all my life. My father owned a motorcycle shop. And so I came here. I came here because, you asked me the question, is because in the United States they spray the skies with these lines.
How did you first find out about the chemtrail spraying? Okay,
well, I have a friend of mine. He gave me a DVD one time. I was at a motorcycle rally. And he said, did you know that that the 9/11 towers were brought down and they were an inside job? And I said, oh no, you know, that can't be. Anyway, I took the CD back, put it in the computer, looked at it, and you could see, for me, perfectly that it was an inside job. You could see the explosions and stuff. So that got me started on that, and then he told me about chemtrails, and then all of a sudden I was off and running, you know.
You couldn't live in the U.S. anymore after knowing that stuff, huh?
I have so many pictures. I would look at the sky more than the ground, and I was so worried because what they were doing to us and how they were changing the climate.
And you live right near the McMillan's Air Force Base? Isn't there a McMinnville. Isn't there a UFO conference there once a year?
I don't know about that.
Okay, maybe that's someplace else, but this is where...
it's Evergreen.
Evergreen Air, which actually, if you go to their website, actually has patents for weather, they advertise that one of their things is weather modification and fire prevention, which they don't seem to be using too much, but they actually brag that weather modification is one of their things if you go to their website, and they do have a contract with the CIA, and you knew for sure that Evergreen Air was flying out of that base in McMinnville?
Well, I live probably, as a crow flies, probably about 50 miles away.
Mm-hmm.
And
you see the flights returning there?
They would come right out of the airport and just start spraying right away.
Right away, they start spraying.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Mm-hmm. And you actually, I like it because you're very up on the details and the numbers and the scientific explanations, because you study this stuff a lot. You're talking about the capacity of the lasers that they have now that can actually start fires. And can you tell us a little bit about this?
Okay. Well, there's a website called A Plain Truth.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is really on it. He's a very loving guy. He helps people, and he lays it all out, what's going on. But they're using a directed energy weapon, which is a weapon they've had for, way back in the 50s and that sort of thing. And they just need electricity, and they can shine a laser on somebody, and they can heat the stuff up and blow the stuff up.
How fast do you say the forest fires that consumed Paradise were traveling? Like a football field a second?
That's what they were saying, a football field a second. It was like the winds were like at 230 miles an hour.
Wow, that's got to be crazy.
Yeah, and people were just like, they had no time to get out. I mean, people died in their cars, they died in their houses. It's just horrible. I keep studying it even today, because I want to know what's going on.
Geoengineering. It's the biggest elephant in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And they claim that they take all this fuel on the airplanes.
Oh, now we're going to jump over to that. Okay. Well, there's a website called Enslaved by No Media. Enslaved by No Media. And this guy, some of this stuff is a little bit off because he thinks that motorcycles are running on air and race cars are running on air. It is kind of true that the gasoline is an igniter for air.
Mm-hmm.
So what he's saying, and it's very true if you look at his videos, that the aircraft, the wings are not that big.
How much gallons of gasoline do they claim they take on the airplanes?
The aviation fuel is like 93,000 gallons of fuel, it's like a swimming pool.
Olympic-sized swimming pool?
Yeah.
But there's been air shows where the planes come down and they just kind of hover.
Like levitate.
Mm-hmm.
Levitate, yeah. And these heavy aircraft. I mean, of course they probably didn't have much fuel on board, but yeah, they do that.
And you were saying also that the sun is a certain distance away, but they claim that it's another distance?
Well, that same number actually kind of comes up 93,000 miles away the sun is, because, it's way up there. But if you look at the rays that come through the clouds, it's like that, and that means if you did geometry, like right here, so it's
should be a bit closer?
A whole lot closer, like miles away,
Somebody sent me a link about this stuff about a sun simulator, and some of it, I mean, the patents are real, and you can go to these commercials for Boeing, and they actually show a sun simulator with a space elevator, but do you think that it could really get a second sun up there that could actually replace the one we have?
They actually have a patent on it. You just have to go online, you can find out sun simulators, so yeah.
They do have a patent, just like China's talking now about making fake moons to light up the sky. It's pretty scary. What else do you know about these directed energy weapons and their connection with forest fires?
I don't think that any one of us are safe because of the directed energy weapons, because they could fly a drone over right here, and because we have a chip in the phone, we have a chip on our credit cards. If you put a chip in your hand, they know exactly where you are. They could just zap you anytime they wanted. That's why it's not too good to be too blabbermouth and tell people what's going on all the time,
Yeah, but there's so many people that are talking about these things, just like walking around Vilcabamba today. It seems like anybody who does any kind of research about what's happening in the world is aware of the geoengineering. But the other people that don't want to know, they have their eyes closed and they're just consumers. And the free energy and the advanced technology, it seems like everything's being invented and commercialized for retail use, but we're still using really old and dirty technology when it comes to powering our houses. And when I think of like Nikola Tesla over 100 years ago and the stuff that he was doing that's never really been developed. You know, we have a friend here, Bill Kabamba, who talks about how he made a free energy machine with triangles for his house in LA and did not pay any electricity. And then the last time he was flying to Ecuador, they told him, don't ever come back or else. Would you like to talk to us about free energy? Do you know anything about that?
Not that specific thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know much about that, but I think that we have, you know, like using oil and gasoline. You know, you buy a $30,000 or $40,000 car, and it still only gets like 30 miles to the gallon. Anyway, there's people that have created where you can run your car on water because it's hydrogen. You split the you know, particles, and so we have free energy, but they keep us in the dark.
Have you ever thought about converting one of your motorcycles to like a free energy or something?
Yeah, I actually have something, because gasoline, wet gas does not burn.
Okay.
If you have a can of gas and it's wet, you throw a match in there, it doesn't burn. It's the fumes that make it burn.
Mm-hmm.
And so for some reason, even though if you have a carburetor, it only puts so much gas in there and it goes out the tailpipe. And a lot of it doesn't burn because it has to atomize down to a very, it has to become a fume. And even when they put fuel injection in the cars, there's still just little BBs of wet gas in there. And that's why the catalytic converter down there, it burns the rest of the gas. So yeah, they're lying. And back to the airplane thing, for some reason the big turbofan, those big fans on the front, have big blades, and I think that those blades gear drive down to a smaller thing, and then it shoots it out the back. So it's like free energy for those guys, so they're charging us way too much money for this stuff.
Well, you know, when I first got into weather manipulation in like 2005, 2006, you could point to the military aircraft and say, oh, look, they're leaving these trails, it's outside the commercial flight paths, but then sometime along the line, the airplane company, the passenger jet, started spraying chemtrails too. Now it's a lot harder to talk about it because you can't show the difference, because a lot of the commercial aircraft are also spraying. Where do you think they're able to hide these spray mechanisms on board, like with the Lufthansa, British Air, stuff like that?
That's a really great question, and the aluminum and barium and strontium that is sprayed out of the back of them, molds, and they even say desiccated blood cells are coming out of the back, mold, all kinds of stuff. Anyway, I think
coal ash.
I think that on a passenger aircraft, when they land on the deck and they're sitting there and people are getting off and getting on, they got to plug this thing in to get the poop and stuff out. Okay. I think at that point they put another one on there, and then they fill it back up. Because there's videos where it shows right on the dash of an aircraft where it says chemtrail, is it on or off?
Does it use the word chemtrail?
It actually says chemtrail, and they actually have, little cameras.
I thought the word chemtrail was used primarily by critics of geoengineering. I didn't know that was actually on the airplane.
Well, the pilots actually see this chemtrail thing. Yeah, and so they actually have that right on their little display, and they even have a camera where they can flip it and see if it's spraying correctly and stuff like that.
So that means that pilots for the commercial airlines are in on the fix at this point.
So I would say that a lot of them don't know, because they just AI or whatever, they turn them on and off, because you can see them in the sky where they turn them on and off, and usually a lot of chemtrails are like this, and there's a little loop like this.
Well, there's a flight path from Peru to Guayaquil that flies in this area, and we see them.
Yeah, right over there you can see them going over the top.
And what year do you reckon the commercial airliners started spraying?
That's interesting. I don't know.
Because when I first got into this, I could say, look, these are jets, they don't function like that, but now that, for me, a big wake-up call should be if you live in a rural area like Mendocino County or Humboldt County, and you see this spraying all the time, which is outside of any flight path, and then it leaves a cloud cover, so that's undeniable that it's creating cloud cover and affecting the weather. Actually, Rosalind Peterson audited the flights from Mendocino County, and she found that the ones that were leaving the trails were military in origin, and she contacted NASA, and she said, why is this treated as a cloud front when there's no precipitation? And they admitted that they were man-made, but they said that they just treated it as a cloud cover. And of course, the Weather Channel is now owned by Raytheon, that owns the geoengineering patents, and it's up to their necks in weather modification. What do you like about Ecuador? You mentioned once you like the fact that you can pass a cop, pay off a cop, kind of like the 1950s in the U.S. How it was.
I was born in 1959.
Okay.
So I wasn't in the 50s, but I can imagine what it could have been like.
Yeah.
But it is kind of fun. Like the first time I passed a cop car, it was just like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get in trouble. But it is nice that you can say, okay, I really do deserve a ticket possibly. And you can give them some money, 10 or 20 bucks. And
that happened once when I was in the car with you. You had only a copy of your driver's license.
I thought it was the real one, but it didn't have that watermark thing, and that guy did not want to take money from me. And
but he finally did.
He did. I'm so glad he did, because
otherwise you would have had to pay more in the bank somewhere.
Yeah, and it takes points off. I don't know how many points.
Oh, they have like a social credit score?
And I love Ecuador. It's beautiful here. There's not a lot of trees here.
Now, you're actually planning to, you'd like to parcel off one of these properties, right?
Yeah.
For you said $25,000 for somebody who wants the residency?
Well, just that over there, if somebody bought that house and property, you could get that for $25,000, and that would give you residency, because you either need to put $25,000 down in a CD,
yeah,
or you got to buy property, or you got to have education and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah. So you're never going back to the U.S.?
I wouldn't say that.
You wouldn't say that?
I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
Because I would love to go there, but I think I would just freak out because of the chemtrails and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It would drive me nuts.
Pretty bad.
But I mean, look at this right here. I mean, look at this canyon and this mountain. I mean, like.
Pretty nice. You went over there today?
That very furthest mountain up there. There's one range here. There's another one there, and then that one. I had to drive all the way around and all the way up on gravel road to get there. It's beautiful up there. I mean, there's so much beauty in this place. It's just crazy.
Now, you actually work with Real Moto, and people bring their motorcycles and quads and different things.
Yeah.
What's the most you've ever done on a motorcycle for someone?
Well, you know the French bakery place? I took his, he bought his dream is to world travel, okay? But he hasn't done it yet. So you got to satisfy your dream. Anyway, he brought the bike to me. I thought I had plenty of time to work on it, and it's a Honda Alpen Transalp, I think is what they call it. Transalp. Anyway, African 20.
Okay, yeah, but whatever.
It was a racing thing. Anyway, yeah, and I did a whole bunch of work on that. Yeah, I do a lot of work.
And you showed me our friend Sergey's bike after he took a dive. It was totaled, and you actually were able to. How many hours of work did you put into that one?
Just to make it look like a motorcycle, it took about 40 hours, and then it took another 40 hours just to make it work correctly, like I want it to work. I mean, beyond brand new.
And you came here for the first time all the way from Oregon on a motorcycle, put on a boat over the Panama Canal. What was that like? With your dog?
Yeah, I took a dog on the back of my bike. I had my wife at the time. She had a bike like mine. But I had the dog, and so we came through all the countries, but you can't get through the Darien Gap is what they call it.
Okay.
And so we went from Panama on a sailing vessel. It was a 110-year-old sailing vessel called the Stallrat. And then we went all the way to the San Blas Islands, got to go swimming, and then we went to Cartagena, and then we came on down here, and then I went down, Ecuador. Vilcabamba, Ecuador. That's where I really wanted to go. And then we went down to Lima, Peru, and then we came back.
Yeah, a lot of Americans, and North Americans, I should say,
deal, man.
They've bought property here in Vilcabamba, and they're mostly retired people, but there's a few people like us who still work. Well, thanks for this interview today. It's been great.
Good job. Thanks.